You've probably seen the headlines. Adam Schefter even came out with a report that it was Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers for the Texas quarterback job. Listen, I'm not buying it. Okay, I'm not buying all the clickbait storylines that you're trying to sell me. I do not believe there will be a legitimate quarterback battle in Austin, Texas. That's not to say there won't be competition. That's not to say they won't still push each other, but I would be wildly surprised if there is a quarterback controversy, more or less, in Austin, Texas. Allow me to explain. If you're confused about this whole conversation, it's because Steve Sarkisian was asked after his first spring practice, the one where they run around with helmets and a jersey and no shoulder pads and basketball shorts, is the quarterback position up for grabs? And the way that he answered it was very much so diplomatic. He just said all positions are open, which I do believe is true. During spring practice, you're just trying to take inventory of what you got in stock. What do we have on our team? And what is he supposed to say to that question? When you're trying to preach competition and you're trying to preach iron sharpens iron, is he just going to come out and say, nope, quarterback job is locked down, it's Quinn Ewers. It's Quinn Ewers is our quarterback, period, mic drop. What does that do? It stunts growth, because growth comes from the demand of pressure performance, right? So, in theory, if he were to take away that competition, that pressure aspect to perform, he's doing a disservice to both Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. Right now, Arch Manning is, I would imagine, going to be successful during spring or be pushed to be more successful during spring because of the fact that he is chasing Quinn Ewers. He's trying to push Quinn Ewers for the quarterback job based on what Steve Sarkisian said. For Quinn Ewers, he's being pushed by Arch Manning. Hey, I got a really talented kid behind me. I got to bring my A game. Arch Manning showing up for practice. Hey, I got to bring my A game. I got to try and get this quarterback job from Quinn Ewers. If there's no competition, that's not happening. And that's just bad for your football team. So what is he supposed to say? He gave everybody a headline because they took his quote, I don't want to say out of context, because he did say that in relation to the question, but it wasn't like Steve Sarkisian was just saying, yep, we're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned quarterback derby. Wasn't the way he said it. He was answering in a diplomatic fashion. I believe the plan was always for Arch Manning to redshirt. More thoughts on that in a second. If you're not yet subscribed, would love to have you a part of this. The On3 YouTube channel, the Hard Count college football content every single day. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. A great way for us to hear from y'all and involve y'all more and more into the show. Like I was saying, I wholeheartedly believe that the plan was always for Arch Manning to sport a red shirt this year. Why? Because he committed to Texas at the peak of the Quinn Ewers hype train. Think about what was being said about Quinn Ewers before we even got into this season, before he was even named the starter. It was, hey, Quinn Ewers is going to bring the Longhorns back to prominence. Quinn Ewers is maybe going to get himself a Heisman Trophy. Like, we were all dreaming big, as we do in the offseason, for what Quinn Ewers could be on the 40 acres. But Arch Manning, even so, says, yep, I want to go play for Steve Sarkisian. I want to be developed, keyword, in Austin. He wasn't expecting to start day one. If he wanted to start day one, if that was of the utmost importance to him, he would have gone somewhere else. Instead, he goes to Texas with all the buzz around Quinn Ewers. Now, there's also another argument that we probably have to address, which is, hey, if Arch Manning's got 5 stars, if he's supposed to be all that, why shouldn't he play day one? You keep telling me how good he is, JD. Why shouldn't he be the guy day one? There is such a thing as playing too early, and there's 2 very important factors. We got to talk about this. One, it's Texas. It's the University of Texas at Austin, one of the most recognizable brands, not just in college sports, but in sports in general. You are under a microscope every single move you make in Austin, Texas, wearing the Longhorn logo. Don't believe me? We know about his student ID issues, and he hasn't even taken a snap yet, which leads into the next point. His last name is Manning, and he plays quarterback. Do you know how much is expected of Arch Manning just purely based off of his last name since he was playing Pop Warner football? There's a lot of pressure on this kid. And if you put him out there to play before he is 110% ready, could damage his confidence for what he's going to do in the future, could create bad habits if he ends up trying to scramble out of pressure a certain way, or maybe he throws the football a certain way when he sees a certain coverage. Like, you hear what I'm saying? You can sort of perpetuate bad habits by getting into a situation before you're ready. It could stunt his growth. It could potentially make his maturation process a little bit more bumpy. I believe Quinn Ewers, I said it before on the show yesterday, on our live show, I fully believe Quinn Ewers holds the keys to how much pressure is placed on Arch Manning in 2023. If Quinn Ewers plays well, that means there's not going to be the whole chance of Arch Manning, we want Arch from the student section. You're not going to hear that because Quinn Ewers just threw 4 touchdowns and no picks, and it was a good day at DKR. Also, he's not going to be out there playing poorly, which would give the coaching staff a little bit less pressure to throw him out there. You hear what I'm saying? If Quinn Ewers throws 3 interceptions and it's a bad day at the office and things are going poorly for Texas, maybe you start to look over your shoulder and say, Arch, you want to go in there? And again, if he's not ready yet to play, it's a bad thing for your football team. All right? So here's what I think. Like I said, fully believe the plan was for him to always redshirt. Vince Young came out and said as much, however much weight you want to put on that. I think it's Quinn Ewers' job to lose. And take a step back from the quarterback position. This isn't a year where you kind of figure it out at Texas and sort of take your lumps. That was last year. Last year was the growing pains year. As much as we wanted to pretend that it wasn't in different circles, it was. Quinn Ewers' first time being a starting quarterback, tons of youth across the offense. This year, you won 8 games a season ago. You won 5 games the year before. You've been building to a year where you play/win a Big 12 title. Those of you that watch the show know that I think as long as they just show up in that game, I think that's a successful year. I think that would be a box you could check and say, yeah, good season. Showed up and played in the tournament. Played in the game. We got March on the brain over here, if you can't tell. Arch Manning is fully 100% the future on the 40 acres. No negotiations. Arch Manning's the future. But this year, for what you expect to get done in Austin, Texas, you don't want to go through another first-year starting quarterback, much less a true freshman starting quarterback. Tons of tools, tons of ability, tons of potential does Arch Manning have. But Quinn Ewers has now had a full year in the saddle, has some more experience around him, and this is his show. He will have every opportunity to be the starting quarterback. Like I said, I fully believe it will be his job to lose. So keep track of Arch Manning on the depth chart and see where he is as we get into fall camp. But I would be wildly surprised if Quinn Ewers is not the starter game 1 for the Longhorns. Keep an eye on this. We'll track it as we go forward. But I fully believe that this is Quinn Ewers' job. So excited to watch this. Excited to watch this play out. Excited for whenever Arch Manning does get to take snaps in a game. Should be a lot of fun. This has been The Hard Count. Nick Brake lifting heavy. This is your show. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.